And the windows are shut tight, too. Seems like the only way to get in would have been through Sylvain's room. Well, looks like we've investigated...
So, did you find anything?
Paimon can show you. Here, it'd be something like this.
But entering through the room next door without alerting Sylvain... Wait, you don't think Sylvain could have been the one who...
No, his reaction to the loss of his brother seemed genuine.
Then what could have happened last night? I know Sylvain is still in shock.
I agree. Also, I've made some new discoveries, so we...
Mr. Sylvain, I need you to tell me everything you and your brother did since yesterday.
After Kyria attacked Edgar, my brother and we returned to our rooms and decided to lock all the doors leading to the hallway. The only door we kept unlocked was the one connecting our rooms. But I didn't hear any sort of commotion last night. Not a single noise! I woke up this morning, opened the door...
So, no movement from the room next door. No forced entry, no signs of a struggle at the scene, and no external injury on Lucien's body.
I did notice a few things about the body. Lucien's pupils were dilated, and his skin was flushed. There weren't any traces of liquid in his mouth or nose, so it's unlikely he was forced to ingest anything. The more plausible explanation is that he inhaled a substance without knowing it. And
A goose? No, that's not possible. Inhaling a goose won't kill you. And anyway, it would have been for just one night. No. Emily, you ran your tests, didn't you?
no, I didn't find any common toxins.
See? A goose is harmless.
That may be true for most people, but...
Master!
Edgar? You're up in a...
Thanks to Emily. Sylvain, no matter how hard you may...
Edgar!
Even if we could keep it a secret for another 10 or 20 years, no. He would never give up. Not... That's Vijava's... Yelena wasn't a scholar from Sumeru. She was an exiled Fatui.
Oh, Fatous?
The Fatui. Well, that...
Ah, so you've already detected it.
Oh,
The August flower was created with the mutative and distorting power.
A delusion?
The Fatui, delusions... I never would...
Born of a delusion, August contained distorted elemental energy. A prolonged exposure over many years could have a harmful effect on the body.
that's enough, Edgar. At first, Yelena wanted to keep refining the perfume and the flower. It didn't have any effect on ordinary people anyway. Every day we postponed going to...
So you decided poisoning people was worth the risk?
Listen, it's not like it was good for business. But all that talk about a goose being harmful over time... Yelena, unless you were particularly sensitive to elemental energy or had an entire bottle shoved down your throat like...
It may be true there are no records of a goose poisoning in Fontaine. But even if no one was acutely poisoned, willfully bringing a product to market despite explicit knowledge of its harmful effects is still a serious crime. That explains why you were so intent on keeping Yelena and Kyria's involvement a secret all this time, despite readily confessing to all your financial crimes. The Fatui, delusions, Auguste. If the Marechaussee Phantom discovered the connection between the three, there would have been enough evidence to send you to the Fortress of Meripede for life.
Ha! If I'd known coming to Sumeru would put a target on my back, I would have been more than happy to stay there. At least that way, Lucien would still be alive. All these years without any sign of Kyria, and he pops up out of nowhere the minute my brother and I get out of prison? It couldn't be any clearer who the kid's after. Auguste was harmless before. The fact that it's killing people all of a sudden must be...
So there's bad blood between you.
What about Yelena's death? Was that a cover-up too?
I'll admit, we thought about it at one point. We took care to disguise the product circulating on the market, and no one was questioning Yelena's fake identity. But if the Marechaussee Phantom decided to look into the flower beds, before we could even put our plan in motion, Yelena beat us to it.
But if her goal was to destroy evidence, there would have been no reason to do... Yeah, she could have just burned the flower beds and fled with her brother.
I thought about it for a long time, but it was everything she did. It was for her. One of the reasons they defected from the Fatui was the deterioration of Yelena's body due to her excessive use of a delusion. After arriving in Fontaine, Yelena continued using the delusion to cultivate the Auguste flower, weakening her body even.
So she couldn't flee with her brother because she was afraid of holding him back.
If her true identity was exposed, the Auguste flower and Yelena's own corroded body both bore the mark. So, in the end, she burnt it all to ash, including herself.
So the wealth you earned from Auguste, it wasn't destroyed in the fire?
Most likely. Before Yelena died, she said if anything happened to her, she was going to leave everything to her brother. That's why Lucien and I were searching for Kyria, to take back Armora and the Auguste flower. We just didn't realize...
But why is Kyria out for revenge anyway?
I don't think he knew his sister was... Yelena always wore heavy makeup around him to conceal her deteriorating appearance.
Then all we'll need to do is tell Kyria what really happened. I'm not so sure. Even if he knew the truth, he'd still find someone to blame. He might think Yelena was forced into using a delusion to It's hard to pull yourself out of that kind of hatred. Especially when you've been living in that headspace for so many...
Very true. Even if Yelena's death was her own choice.
Edgar!
Think about it, Sylvain. If we hadn't been in such a hurry to if we hadn't been so blinded by greed, so insistent on increasing the scale of the flower, if we hadn't invited the Marechaussee Phantom to our doorstep by breaking the law at every...
She knew her limits. She knew her days were numbered. Maybe it was for her brother, but she was in it for the We were just trying to earn a bit of moral. And what, we deserve to die for that? Target me for being the mastermind. Sure. Lucien's crime. Was it really so extreme that he had...
The only person...
Fine. I've said my piece anyway.
3 people from Fontaine, 1 from Snezhna. Well, we can only wait until the Academia sends someone to deal with it. I'm guessing we'll have to contact Font. With the exhibition, we don't even have space in Port Ormos to detain anyone.
The hotel could suffice. You could station a few officers to keep an eye on... Although with Sylvain's mental state and my physical one...
Mr. Edgar, are you saying...
If Sylvain is to stand trial, then I deserve the same fate. I'd just like to take care of a few things before I go. As for Sylvain, I'm sure he also has... Would you be willing to grant that request?
Well, all right. I'll talk to the man we grew to know in Sumeru proved himself to be a good person.
You have my thanks, Sheriff.
Happened tonight? Oh,
Yeah, all we know is that he uses a goose to poison people, but we still have no idea how to catch him in the act. If he targets Sylvain or Edgar again, we might not be able to stop him.
That may be true, but what if we can take advantage? If we take advantage of this situation and lure him...
Master, no. That's too dangerous.
So, if Kyria learns we're being taken away tomorrow, his last chance to enact his revenge would be tonight. In other words, you want to use us as...
Capture? Not necessarily.
Afraid? This is my only chance to make... I'm spending the rest of my life in prison anyway. I can't just sit back and let him ride off into the sunset with our fortune. As for the danger...
I'll admit, it could work. We just need to spread the word that Edgar and Sylvain are leaving tomorrow. Then I'll station some of my men around the hotel, if we have your assistance as well.
I still have some reservations. But if you insist on carrying out this plan, I won't deny you my help.
I'll also keep watch.
Although I think Sylvain and myself should... If Kyria noticed another person in the room, he might decide to turn back.
You mean if he doesn't see a way to get his hands on the two of...
If that were to happen, everyone's standing guard.
That's why everyone else needs to keep to the shadows.
You're still recovering. You need to rest.
This old...
All right, we can figure out a plan to keep watch later. Right now, I say we split up, start spreading that information before it's too late.
Have you heard? Mr. Edgar's been detained. He's being taken away tomorrow.
What? He's the one who helped craft all the fragrance.
He taught my child how to make perfume. How could this happen?
He hasn't been convicted yet. Let's just wait and...
Oh, everyone on the street is talking about the rumors. No matter where Kyria's hiding, let's head back to the hotel and take a break.